Ever wondered why people are fleeing Venezuela, desperate for a brighter tomorrow? With corruption running rampant and citizens packing up, the economic storm has hit the country hard. But how did this nation, once rich in potential, crumble under the weight of bad economics?
Venezuela, of course, a country where prices double every few weeks and a monthly salary isn't enough to buy meat.
An extraordinary journey inside a country on the brink of an economic collapse.
Let's rewind the roots of Venezuela. In the early days, under Spanish rule, society was hierarchical, driven by the pursuit of wealth. The majority of people were engaged in agriculture, contributing to a society marked by economic disparities. As the 19th century unfolded, Venezuela craved for independence. However, the economic landscape was dominated by an agricultural sector characterized by large estates, contributing to social inequality. Despite the aspirations for self-governance, economic challenges continued. In 1922, a pivotal moment occurred in Venezuela when Royal Dutch shell geologists struck oil at La Rosa in the Maracaibo Basin, gushing at an extraordinary rate of 100,000 barrels per day. This marked the beginning of a transformative era. Within a few years, over 100 foreign companies supported by dictator General Juan Vicente Gomez were tapping into Venezuela's oil wealth. Annual production skyrocketed during the 1920s, reaching a staggering 137 million barrels by 1929, making Venezuela the second largest oil producer globally after the United States. Following Gomez's death in 1935, the Dutch disease, an economic term for the negative consequences that can arise from a spike in the value of a nation's currency, took hold. This caused the Venezuelan bolivar to inflate and oil dominated, constituting over 90% of total exports. In the 1930s, three foreign giants, Gulf, Royal Dutch Shell, and Standard Oil controlled 98% of Venezuela's oil market, seeking to redirect oil profits to the government. The Hydrocarbons Law of 1943 mandated foreign companies to allocate half of their oil profits to the state, resulting in a six-fold increase in government income within 5 years. The political landscape shifted in 1958 when Venezuela elected its first stable democratic government, signing the Punto Fijo Pact. This agreement, aimed at ensuring democratic stability, also concentrated oil profits within the state, distributing them among the three major political parties. Venezuela joined the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries in 1960, aligning with other major oil-producing nations to coordinate prices and gain control over their national industries. The same year witnessed the establishment of Venezuela's first state oil company, the Venezuelan Petroleum Corporation, with an increased oil company's income tax to 65% of profits. The 1970s brought an unprecedented oil boom after a 5-month OPEC embargo quadrupled oil prices. Venezuela became the country with the highest per capita income in Latin America. However, mismanagement and corruption marred the windfall, with estimates suggesting embezzlement of up to $100 billion between 1972 and 1997. In 1976, amid the boom, President Carlos Andrés Pérez nationalized the oil industry, creating PDVSA, the Venezuelan state-owned oil and natural gas company. Pérez allowed PDVSA to partner with foreign companies while maintaining a 60% equity stake in joint ventures, running the company as a business with minimal government interference. The 1980s witnessed an oil surplus, causing Venezuela's economy to contract and inflation to soar. In 1989, amid fiscal challenges, Pérez implemented austerity measures, leading to deadly riots. This tumultuous period set the stage for the emergence of Hugo Chavez, a military officer who, in 1992, attempted a coup, setting the course for his eventual rise to national fame. In 1998, Hugo Chavez assumed the presidency in Venezuela, championing a socialist agenda that aimed to harness the nation's abundant oil wealth to alleviate poverty and inequality. His ambitious Bolivarian missions sought to expand social services, successfully reducing poverty by 20%. However, this period also marked the beginning of a gradual decline in the country's oil production, peaking in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Chavez's controversial decision to dismiss thousands of skilled PDVSA workers who participated in the 2002 to 2003 industry strike significantly eroded the company's technical expertise. As a result, from 2005 onwards, despite Chavez's initiatives to provide subsidized oil to regional countries through the Petrocarb Alliance, Venezuela faced economic challenges. One of the most devastating consequences for residents was the economic crisis triggered by the sharp decline in global oil prices in 2014. Inflation reached unprecedented levels, causing a collapse in the value of the national currency. The income of residents plummeted, and many struggled to afford basic necessities. The situation led to widespread poverty and a sharp decline in the overall quality of life. The economic turmoil also fueled a huge migration crisis. Venezuelans, mostly from lower-income groups, faced dire circumstances and looked for better opportunities abroad. A large number of skilled professionals, including doctors, engineers, and academics, left the country, depleting it of valuable human capital. This mass immigration further strained the nation's capacity to recover. The locals who decided to remain in the country resorted to alternative means of survival, such as bartering goods and services. There were many reports of women selling their jewelry, families selling their cars, and countless others devastating stories. The desperation of the population prompted protests against the government's handling of the crisis, but did they really make a difference? In response to the economic challenges, the government, under both Chavez, implemented measures that often proved ineffective. Attempts to control prices and impose economic regulations failed to address the root causes of the crisis. Additionally, the government's control over the media limited the flow of accurate information, further deepening public frustration. From 2005 onwards, Chavez initiated the provision of subsidized oil to regional countries such as Cuba through the Petro-Carib Alliance. Despite these social initiatives, strategic petroleum reserves dwindled and government debt more than doubled during Chavez's presidency, which concluded in 2013. Chavez's political maneuvers also extended to augmenting presidential powers and steering the nation towards authoritarianism. He eliminated term limits, gained effective control over the Supreme Court, curtailed press freedom, shuttered independent outlets, and undertook extensive nationalizations, including the seizure of private businesses and foreign-owned assets like ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips oil projects. These reforms laid the groundwork for Nicolas Maduro to solidify an authoritarian regime following Chavez's passing. The turning point came in 2014 when global oil prices plummeted, triggering an economic crisis in Venezuela. Maduro responded with political repression, censorship, and electoral manipulation, consolidating his power. In 2018, he secured a controversial re-election, widely criticized as unfair and undemocratic. In response, nearly 60 countries, including the United States, recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido, head of the National Assembly, as Venezuela's interim leader, marking a pivotal moment in the nation's descent into dictatorship. In early 2018, Venezuela faced a dire situation, unable to meet its financial obligations, resulting in a default on its international loans. President Trump's sanctions on Venezuela's state debt in August 2017 exacerbated the crisis, prohibiting transactions and participation in debt restructuring. The technical default period ended in November 2017 as Venezuela failed to pay coupons on its dollar-euro bonds, triggering a cross-default on other dollar bonds. The International Swaps and Derivatives Association Committee, comprising major banks, declared a default on state debt obligations on November 30th, leading to payments on credit default swaps. Presently, 20 international Venezuelan bonds totaling $36 billion are acknowledged to be in default. A 2022 report by Transparencia Venezuela highlighted that illegal activities, constituting approximately 21% of the GDP, fueled organized crime. Drug, oil, and gold trafficking, along with illicit activities in ports and customs, generated over $9.4 billion, shielded by corrupt officials. In 2021, gold extraction alone yielded around $2.3 billion, with the state receiving only 25%. By 2023, Venezuela's economic landscape saw signs of improvement, registering a 15% growth and a decrease in extreme poverty rates. This positive shift was attributed to a liberalized economy and increased access to the United States dollar. However, despite these gains, inequality remained stark, with rich Venezuelans earning more than 70 times the income of their less privileged counterparts. Although things have been looking up for the country lately, one can't help but feel pity for the nation that had the potential to be larger than life by most definitions. Venezuela is considered a failed state. What exactly went wrong? Here are some possible explanations. In recent years, Venezuela's heavy reliance on oil exports has financed a substantial portion of the government's budget, with estimates for 2024 indicating a slightly lower but still significant figure of 58%, down from the previous two-thirds. However, the oil sector faces challenges with declining output of 2.5% in 2022 due to insufficient investment and maintenance, following a brief increase the previous year. In 2020, oil production had hit its lowest level in decades. The Venezuelan economy has weathered turbulence, experiencing a staggering 75% shrinkage in GDP between 2014 and 2021. Despite this downturn, a noteworthy rebound occurred, with an 8% growth in 2022 and 4% in 2023. Experts anticipate further growth of 4.5% in 2024. The economic struggles are exacerbated by a soaring debt burden, with Venezuela estimated to carry a staggering $150 billion or more in debt. Hyperinflation further complicates matters, with annual inflation reaching over 130,000% in 2018 and, though slowing, still remaining at a significant 360% in 2023. These economic challenges, coupled with international sanctions and the ongoing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, have triggered a severe humanitarian crisis. Basic goods like food, drinking water, gasoline, and medical supplies are in short supply. A November 2022 survey revealed that 50% of Venezuelans' 28 million residents live in poverty, an improvement from 65% the previous year. As of August 2023, more than 7.7 million people have left Venezuela, making it one of the largest external displacement crises in the world. Venezuela grapples with a profound crisis, economic decline, soaring debt, hyperinflation, and a humanitarian crisis. The resilience of its people faces a test. In 2024, elections offer a potential turning point, a glimmer of hope for a nation yearning for stability and prosperity. The choices made will shape Venezuela's path, holding the promise of a brighter future amidst the shadows of its turbulent history.